Imagine waking up one morning and everything you counted on, your paycheck, your housing, your health, feels like it's slipping through your fingers. Not because you made a reckless choice, but because life threw a curveball in a way you never saw coming. What if I told you that most Americans are just one emergency away from a complete collapse of their financial stability and peace of mind? That the safety nets we assume are beneath us are actually more like thin, fraying threads. This is Insight Archive, where we explore the systems shaping modern life. It's a strange and unsettling truth, but the majority of people in the United States are living so close to the edge financially that one unexpected event, a medical emergency, a job loss, or a major car repair, can send their entire world into chaos. And this isn't just about poverty or a lack of money. It's about the fragile balance everyone tries to maintain within a system that often feels stacked against them. To understand why most people are one emergency away from collapse, we have to start by looking at how Americans manage money and risk today. The old image of a family with a steady job, savings in the bank, and a little cushion for a rainy day feels more like a fantasy than a reality for many. Nearly 60% of Americans say they don't have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. That's a staggering number. It means that a single unexpected bill, a trip to the emergency room, a broken-down car, a sudden need for urgent repairs, can push most people into debt or force them to make incredibly tough decisions. One of the biggest reasons this delicate state exists is the widening gap between income and the rising costs of living. Over the past few decades, wages for the average worker have barely budged when adjusted for inflation. Meanwhile, housing, healthcare, education, and even basic utilities have climbed dramatically. Rent payments can now consume half or more of a family's monthly income in many cities. Medical bills are the leading cause of bankruptcy in the country. College loans are shackling younger generations before they even start their careers. This creates a pressure cooker, where any small emergency is capable of toppling the entire structure. But why don't people just save more? If the dangers are so clear, why is there not a bigger financial cushion? The answer isn't so simple, because it hits against hard truths about how opportunity and stability are distributed. For many, saving money is a luxury they can't afford. When paycheck-to-paycheck living is the norm, every dollar has a purpose: rent, groceries, transportation, childcare. There's often nothing left over to build a savings account. Add to that the fact that many people are juggling multiple jobs or gig work, with irregular hours and no benefits, and you start to see why financial fragility is so widespread. This fragility is compounded by the fact that emergencies themselves are unpredictable and often expensive. Job loss is unpredictable, but increasingly common. Companies downsize, automation replaces roles, industries shift. If you don't have a safety net, even a short period without income can quickly become disastrous. Medical emergencies are another huge factor. In the U.S., healthcare isn't just a cost, it's a potential catastrophe. Even with insurance, copays, deductibles, and uncovered treatments can rack up bills that are impossible to pay all at once. Car repairs, home maintenance, and family crises also contribute to this precariousness, but it's the sheer unpredictability combined with the high cost that creates the perfect storm. Another layer underneath this is the psychological and social pressure to keep up appearances. There's an immense cultural weight tied to maintaining a certain lifestyle: driving a decent car, living in a safe neighborhood, having a smartphone, and keeping up with social activities. Falling behind isn't just financial. It feels like a personal failure. People often go into debt to maintain these appearances, creating cycles of borrowing that leave them even more exposed when emergencies arise. Then there's the role of credit itself. Credit cards, payday loans, and other forms of quick cash borrowing can seem like lifelines in a crisis. But these come with high interest rates and fees that make it increasingly difficult to get ahead. For many, credit isn't a choice but a necessity, and that dependency adds stress and vulnerability. The relief from an immediate emergency quickly turns into a long, dragging debt that can take years to pay off, if at all. We also need to consider the limits of social and governmental support. While programs like unemployment insurance, Medicaid, and food assistance provide invaluable help to many, they often come with restrictions, delays, or gaps that leave people vulnerable at critical moments. The safety nets are there, but they are rarely comprehensive or easy to access in the moment of crisis. The stigma around asking for help can prevent people from reaching out until their situation becomes dire. The result is a system that supports just enough to survive, but rarely enough to thrive or recover quickly. All this paints a picture of a population living in a constant state of vulnerability, where one emergency can spiral into a full-blown crisis. But what can we learn from this? The story isn't just about individual misfortune or poor choices. It's about the structures and economic realities that shape our lives, how the economy works, how wages are set, how healthcare is delivered, and how societal expectations create invisible pressures. It's a reflection of a system that doesn't account for the true costs of living and the risks that people face every day. This reality also invites us to think about resilience, not just personal resilience, but community and systemic resilience. How can societies build stronger safety nets that catch people before they fall? How can policies change to reduce the burden of emergency costs or make healthcare and housing more affordable? These are big questions without easy answers, but they are vital conversations as the gap between security and collapse grows thinner for so many. On a personal level, it encourages reflection on what financial security really means. It's not about having a massive fortune, but about having enough flexibility and support to handle life's surprises without devastation. For many, that includes building savings where possible, minimizing debt, and having plans in place for emergencies. But it also means acknowledging that individual effort can only go so far in a system designed with inherent fragilities. Ultimately, recognizing that most people are one emergency away from collapse is a call for empathy and understanding. Behind the statistics are real lives, parents worried about their kids, workers trying to keep up, seniors managing on fixed incomes. Life's unpredictability is universal, but the consequences of emergencies vary widely depending on the safety nets available. Our shared humanity calls for a society that sees these vulnerabilities clearly and works toward solutions that offer stability as a right, not a privilege. When you think about the lives balanced on such thin threads, it changes how we view everything from policy debates to everyday interactions. It reminds us that beneath the surface of outward normalcy can quietly navigating storms we don't always see. And in that quiet navigation, there's a resilience that speaks to the core of what it means to be human. Holding on, moving forward, and hoping for just a bit more security in uncertain times. Life's emergencies are inevitable, but collapse doesn't have to be. The question we face is how to build a world where a single crisis doesn't mean losing everything. Where the safety nets are wide and strong enough to catch us all, and peace of mind are available to everyone, no matter what life throws their way.